All right, so now I'm going to go through two of the Concept 3 review problems. If you want me to go through more, just let me know. Send me an email or make a post in our Google Classroom, and I can create videos going through more problems. But this is going to be very similar to the example problems that we did just going through the lesson itself. So I'm going to start with number 1. The equation we're given is y equals 2x plus 1. Now, with these review problems, unlike with the example problems, we're not given a set of x values to use, but remember, when creating this input-output table and picking values of x, you just need to pick, I usually pick around 3 to 5 points, and I pick some negative, some positive. Honestly, my favorite values of x to plug in are -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. But you really could plug in any value for x as long as you have enough points, specifically at least 2 points, to be able to graph this line. So these are the x values I'm going to use, but you don't need to use quite this many. You need at least 2. They don't have to be negative and positive. They can be all negative or all positive. It's really a matter of just what numbers you feel like plugging in. If you want to pick really large numbers, go for it. It just will make it a little bit more difficult when graphing it on the grid, because you'll have to make sure your x and y axis go out to those larger numbers, which is also why I like to stick with smaller values like -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So now what I'm going to do next is plug in these 5 x values into this equation. So first I'm going to plug in -2. I get -4 plus 1, which is -3. Now I'm going to plug in -1. And that gets me -1. Plugging in 0. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Plugging in 1. I get 2 plus 1, which is 3. And last, plugging in 2. I get 4 plus 1, which is 5. Now, I'm running out a little bit of space here on my screen that you can see, so I'm going to erase this work. But if you have room on your page, I would leave the work, don't erase it. Just write the graph or draw the graph underneath, or flip to another page in your notebook. Okay, so graphing this. All right, I filled in my tick marks. Now I'm going to plot my points. The first point I have is -2, -3. So I'm going to go back 2 units on the x-axis and down 3 tick marks on the y-axis and plot a point. -1, -1. So I go back 1 point on the x-axis and down 1 point on the y-axis. 0, 1, 1, 3, and 2, 5. And then connect the points, oops, in as straight of a line as you can. It does not have to be perfect. Mine definitely is not. But there we have it. All right, next I'm going to go through number, let's do number 3. So I'm going to go through number 3 next. Number 3 has the equation y equals -4x. The x values I'm going to use here, again, you really don't need 5 points. I like 5 points because I feel like it makes my line a little bit more accurate. It's a little bit easier to see the line. I think that's just my personal preference. But I want to show you that you can do the same thing with less points if you would like. So I'm going to use -1, 0, and 1 here. Actually, nope, I'm going to use, you can use those numbers. I just want to make this a little bit more expanded out on the x-axis so my points aren't so close together. So I'm going to use -2, 0, and 2, so my points are a little bit further apart. All right. Plugging these in, I'm just multiplying them by -4. So if I take -2 and I plug that in, so I'm going to have -4 times -2, I get a +8. If I plug in 0, so -4 times 0, I get 0. And if I plug in +2, I get -4 times 2, which is -8. Right? I'm going to erase this work so I can draw my grid on the same graph, or on the same page. Now, my y goes from -8 to +8, so I might need to go by 2's here. I don't know. I might not have enough room with the way I've drawn this. Let's see if I can make this actually a little bit bigger. All right, let's see. All right, I got just enough 8 for the positive y-axis. And just enough for the negative side. And plenty of space for the x-axis because it really only needs to go to -2 and +2. Plotting each of these points, I have the point -2, +8. So I go back 2 units, but up 8 units. I have the point 0, 0, which is what's called the origin. It's right there in the middle of everything. And then the point +2, -8. And connecting those, and we get our graph. All right, if there's more review problems, again, let me know which ones you want me to go through. Other than that, that is the end of these review problems. By this point, you should be feeling pretty good to go through the Concept 2-3 assignment posted in Google Classroom through the CK12 website. If you're not feeling good about it, do some more practice problems, and then shoot me an email or join a Zoom meeting to ask questions if you have them. Thank you so much.